Hey everyone, it's Noah from American Muscle. Let's take a look at this Borla Attack catback exhaust for the 15 and newer 5.7 liter Hemi Charger without the MDS valves. Now this exhaust is tailored to the Charger owner that wants the loudest sound possible without crossing over into that straight piped and harsh territory. Now this bad boy is going to be a 5 out of 5 on the Wake the Neighbor scale. There are a few mufflers to take that edge off, but the exhaust is still going to be really loud. Now Borla's Attack system doesn't just have a cool name, and the folks over at Borla actually do know how to spell the word attack correctly. Borla's Attack system actually stands for Acoustically Tuned Applied Kinetics. Now long story short, this exhaust is tuned like a graphic equalizer to produce the best and most pleasing sound possible to complement a Hemi, without being overbearing. Now, as you heard in that sound clip, it's super smooth and refined, but it still has that excellent whip crack of a high horsepower V8 at the top of that RPM range. Now, all that is going to come down to the muffler design as well as the grade of the stainless piping and a big X pipe that's going to work its magic and give this system a crisp and even sound. Now, to be clear, this system will not work with the factory MDS valves. All the piping is made out of 304 stainless steel, which is a super corrosion resistant grade of steel that's just about as hard and high end as an exhaust pipe comes. Now this guy is dual all the way to the back, and the only crossover between the two pipes is the big X pipe right here. Now the piping itself is 2.5 inches in diameter, which really opens up the exhaust and lets the deep throaty sound out. Now all the piping here is mandrel bent, which means there aren't any raised joints or ribs, and everything is going to be free flowing and as smooth as possible. The Attack system from Borla comes in with some heft, around $2,000. Now this is going to be one of the most expensive options available for the Charger on our site, but the engineering behind this system and the sound it gives you isn't cheap. Now you're really paying for scientifically the best sound possible, so the price tag is warranted. Plus, it's just a lot of material. I mean, it was tough to squeeze all this on the table in front of me, and steel isn't cheap. Looking at the install, the difficulty is going to be 2 out of 3 wrenches with an install time of about 2 hours. And this is a bolt-on kit that doesn't require any welding or anything like that, but a larger system like this can be tricky to install, especially on the ground with a car on jack stands. That's enough for me though. Let's head over to the install bay where you can see this install process a little bit more in depth.
The tools you'll need for this project are an impact gun or ratchet, a long extension, a 13mm and a 15mm socket, a 13mm wrench, a hanger removal tool, some spray lube, and a cloth to clean up your mess. Hi everyone, today we're installing an exhaust on our Charger, but first let's watch a short video on how to uninstall the stock system. So the first thing we're going to want to do is use a little spray lube on the isolator behind the muffler so that we can get that hanger out of the exhaust. Now we can use our hanger removal tool and push this out. And then use our 13mm wrench to remove the 2 nuts on our exhaust flange. Now we'll remove the 2 rear hangers. One of them is right behind the wheel, and the other one is right at the end of the muffler. So we're using our 13mm socket, we'll get those taken out. Now we can remove the two rear hangers on the passenger side and then move up to the two cross members that have to come out as well. Now we'll remove the two cross members here and here using our 13mm socket. Now we can loosen up the two front clamps using our 15mm socket. Now we've got one more bolt to remove. It's right up here on the passenger side, right next to the differential. So we're going to use our 13mm wrench to get that out. And then we can go ahead and get an extra pair of hands, because we're on a lift, to go ahead and remove the rest of the exhaust. Okay, like I said earlier, since we're on a lift, I got my buddy Mark here to help me lift this out. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna lift it up off of the hook here, push it back to get it off the front pipes, and then lower it down. Now we can go ahead and slide our clamps onto our X-pipe, and you want to put them on the expanded end that has the slots cut in it here. And you also want to make sure that the nuts on your clamp are facing to the outside of the vehicle. One other thing to note is that you'll notice at the bottom of the X-pipe here, you've got one straight side and one side that has a curve to it. The straight side needs to go on the passenger side. So we'll go ahead and put our clamps on. And then we'll slide it onto the existing pipes. Now you can go ahead and snug down your clamps, not too tight, just enough to hold them in place using our 15mm socket. Now we'll go ahead and install our mid muffler on the driver's side. We'll slide a clamp again over the expanded end. Slide it onto our X-pipe. And then connect it to the hanger right above here. And then we'll go ahead and snug down this clamp here as well with our 15mm socket. Now we will be reusing our original hangers from our stock system, so we need to pull those off and transfer them over to the new pipes. To do that, it'd be handy to have a little bit of spray lubricant and a hanger removal tool. So we'll just spray a little bit on the ends. And then use our hanger removal tool to pop those off. And then we'll just transfer these over to the new exhaust pipes. And now you can do the same thing for the 3 hangers on the other exhaust. Now we go ahead and slide a clamp onto our rear muffler pipe. And slide that on to our mid muffler pipe. And now we'll reinstall the bolts for our rear hangers just to hold them in place while we do the other side. So we've got our one hanger here in front of the rear muffler. And then we've got the one at the back of the rear muffler. Now we can do the passenger side. We'll go ahead and slide our clamp onto the mid muffler for the passenger side and slide it onto the X-pipe. Once we've got that on, then we can go ahead and hang this mid hanger here back up on the bracket right in front of the differential. And that'll just hold it in place for now. Now we'll slide our clamp onto our rear muffler and then slide it into place, connecting to the mid muffler pipe. Make sure that that seats all the way forward, and then we'll reinstall the 2 bolts for the rear hangers. Now to put the bolt in for this rear hanger on the passenger side, you may need a longer extension to reach up in there. The clearances are a little tight up there. All right, now that they're in place, we can go ahead and adjust our system, make sure it's lined up properly, and then start tightening everything down. All right, now that we've got everything lined up and all of our clearances are good, we've got at least ½ an inch of clearance all around the system. We can go ahead, starting from the front, and tighten down our clamps using our 15mm socket. Now with our clamps all tight, we'll go ahead and install the bolt for this front hanger here right in front of the differential. Then we'll tighten that down with our 13mm wrench. Now we'll tighten up our hangers with our 13mm socket and our long extension. Now we'll go to the passenger side. Now we'll get the rear hanger. Now you can double check your clearances just to make sure nothing shifted while you tightened it all up, and we're good to go. And that wraps up our review and install of the Borla Attack catback exhaust for the 15 to current 5.7 Hemi Charger without MDS valves. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Charger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.